For the past 12 years, the home team at the Algarve Cup has treated itself like an interested visitor. Each spring, when many of the world's best women's soccer teams traveled to the sunny climes of the seaside region for one of their sport's top tournaments, the players on Portugal's team would talk excitedly about the opportunity to see some of the game's stars. Not play against them, mind you, just watch them. After all, the 12-team event had 3 pools of 4 teams, and while Groups A and B were stocked with teams like the United States, Germany and Sweden, Group C was the Algarve's version of a recreational league. Minnows like Ireland, Poland and Iceland, and Portugal, played one another but were prohibited, by tournament rule, from playing in the top placement games. We did sit in the stands sometimes to see them, Ana Borges, a forward for Portugal, said this week. It was an honor, of course. But that was as close as we would get. Now they are closer. With FIFA having expanded this summer's Women's World Cup to 24 teams from 16, the Algarve, which has long been the top warm-up event, has changed as well. There are still 12 teams playing games here over the next 8 days, but this year all 12 are eligible to win the tournament. And, at last, smaller teams like Portugal will have their chance to compete against the giants. To be honest, this is like our World Cup, said Carolina Mendes, a Portuguese striker. That is not hyperbole. A year ago at this time, Portugal was preparing to play its opening match in the Algarve against Austria, after which it would face Russia and North Korea. The year before that, it played Mexico, Hungary and Wales. This year, Portugal, ranked number 42 in the world, opens with France, number 3, followed by Japan, number 4, and, in what now qualifies as a respite, Denmark, number 16. The change in format essentially allows the Algarve to deepen the quality of its field. This year, for example, Switzerland, which is a team on the rise and has qualified for its first World Cup, is also playing in its first Algarve. It will have the opportunity to face the United States and Norway, as well as another liberated Group C squad, Iceland. This tournament is very important in our build-up, and I think we see the intensity of our players already rising before the summer, Ramona Bachmann, a Swiss forward, said. We heard many excellent things about this event, and so far, everything here has been great. There is a lot to like about the Algarve. The hotels in the resort-rich area are plentiful and high-end, the training facilities are decent, and the stadiums are, generally, cozy but sufficient. The crowds are not large. Last year's final and fair drew about 600 fans, but the national team coaches appreciate the ability to spend concentrated time with their players to work on tactics before trotting out those tactics in matches against strong opponents. Continue reading the main story. Continue reading the main story. Continue reading the main story. Then there is the weather. Tuesday, which was fairly representative, was clear and sunny with temperatures around 70 degrees. In Potsdam, I don't think it is quite like this, Germany's Jennifer Kramer said, referring to the city near Berlin where she plays her club soccer. She was right, it was raining and in the 40s. The Portuguese players are well aware that their presence does not generally feature on any list of the tournament's qualities. While Portugal's men's team is well known and highly regarded, Cristiano Ronaldo is among the best players in the world, its women's team has struggled to make much of an impact on the country's sporting consciousness. The women's team did not play its first match until 1981, meaning that it did not come into existence until 15 years after the men's team had finished third at the 1966 World Cup. Sometimes, I tell people I play football, and they say, "Oh, I didn't know Portugal has a women's team," Mendes said. This tournament will be good for people to see us and see that Portugal's team is playing against big teams. The Portuguese players are realistic, Mendes said. There had not been much talk of winning the Algarve, or even, necessarily, of winning multiple games. While many other women's teams around Europe are seeing a rise in the number of players who are playing professionally, Portugal's squad has only a handful of players who have full-time jobs playing club soccer. None of them play in Portugal. Borges, who plays for Chelsea's women's team, and Mendes, who is with Rossienko in Russia, do make a living on the field, but Olga Freitas, a forward, also plays rugby at Porto University, where she is studying sports science. Filipa Rodrigues, a defender, coaches youth teams. Financing from the Portuguese Soccer Federation has improved in recent years but is still far below what the men's team receives. The women's team does not travel in luxury, It took a bus ride of more than 3 hours to its base hotel in the Algarve and often travels on discount airlines when it has away games in Europe, and news media coverage of its games, even in a country with an established passion for soccer, is light. Still, there have been positive signs. A new coach, Francisco Neto, has made some changes to the team, and last month Portugal beat Switzerland twice in 2 exhibition matches. Beating France or Japan may be a long way off, but after so many years of being only tangentially involved with its own tournament, Portugal is grateful to simply be on the field with the teams that everyone wants to see. "We haven't been to the finals of the World Cup or the European Championships," Mendes said. "We don't know those experiences. But we want them. And this is our first step to finding out what those feelings are like."